On today's video, we're going to finish this three-part series on the right rear. How to build better load and grip on the right rear tire. Today, part 3. If you stick around to the end, I got a little bonus for you people. If you know me, you'll understand. So stay to the end. So let's get going. On this video, we're going to finish our three-part series of the right rear. We've done part 1, part 2. If you haven't seen those videos, go back. I'll link them below, but go back and watch them. Now, I want you to understand that a lot of you guys are probably not going to agree with everything that I'm saying because you don't like to be on the right rear that much. But freer is faster, guaranteed. Part 1, we covered wheel offset, defining right rear loads, stagger. On part 2, we did rear end location side to side, bar angles, and bar adjustments. Okay, today we're going to cover understanding where entry is, understanding where apex is, and having a car tailed out statically or basically going down the straightaway. So we'll get started. Continue to do what you guys do. Race well, race hard, watch the channel, tell your friends, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It helps our growth. So let's get started. Number 1, understanding where entry is. Okay, when I say that to somebody, I get a wide variety of responses. Entry is not where you decide it is or where you think you want to turn the car at this particular lap. Entry is a physical point on the racetrack. It's different on every racetrack, so it's very important that you understand where your entry point is. The more you drive that car past entry, the tighter it'll become. So get on Google Earth, look up your racetrack, and understand where entry is. Okay, some tracks will look way different from an above view than they do from the driver's seat. So in Google Earth, you decide, here's entry into 3, here's entry into 1. And that U tire is right there. So when you get to the racetrack, identify that U tire and say, that's where I need to get my car to turn. This is what I need to do. This is the braking procedure. Turn the car in, get back on the throttle. The trick here is to be on throttle more, not less. The trick here is to increase our corner speed through our right rear tire. So in order to do that, we need to get back to the throttle before center of the corner. In order to be able to get to throttle before center of the corner, we have to rotate very well on the right rear. If we don't, we're going straight. So do remember that. Tight is for straight and free is for corners. If you want to be fast, you got to be free. So understanding where entry is, understanding that you do not overdrive that entry point. One of the ways that we have taught people how to do it is to just slow down and take some laps where you're going about 3/4 speed, get to the corner, turn the car, put the car up on the bars, and accelerate through the corner. Go down the straightaway, slow down enough so you can do the same thing over, and then start working that rhythm. This is where I turn. This is when I get on the gas. This is how I accelerate. Accelerate through the corner. Hot laps. Hey, we threw one away the other night. So it was a great time to just practice and experiment with a few things. So we didn't tighten the car up as much as we wanted to, but we tried some stuff. You know, we wasn't going to win from the back, but it taught us stuff that was very valuable. So understanding where entry is huge in the racing world, and it's highly, highly, highly overlooked. Okay, number 1. Number 2, understanding where apex is. So what am I saying about apex? Well, isn't apex entry when I turned in? For some people it may be, but apex happens deeper in the corner. This is where the car is going to make that final transition from the arc to the straightaway. It's going the other way. Okay, so and here's an example. If I'm going to, well, understanding the corner you're going to take is going to kind of help you to dictate where you're going to apex. Okay, and when I say apex, I mean turn the car to go the other way. So I'm going to run I'll give you several examples. I'm going to run a small entry. It means I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to hug the tires. And I'm going to go around the bottom. Well, I turn into the corner and I get the car rotating. But I can't really accelerate until I apex. So on the bottom, I got to get rotation. I got to get looking the other way, or I'm going to have to turn the car a couple of times before I can go. Well, or I'll come across the bottom and drift way up the top and then turn and go. Well, that's a very, very late apex. The bottom's going to be a very late apex. So understand the slide job is not the fastest lap. So if, example number 2, if I enter big and exit small, well then I'll apex through the middle of the turn. I'll turn down the racetrack, I'll accelerate down the banking and come off on the bottom. So I've turned a big entry at a faster speed and a smaller exit, a shorter distance at a faster speed. This should be the best lap you can turn, but this is the most unrun lap on the racetrack. So understanding where that car really turns. A lot of guys say, oh, I turned the car here, but the car doesn't really rotate until later in the corner. So entry, apex, completely, two things that are completely messed up in this racing world, often poorly done. So the better you do these two things, the faster your lap's going to be. We've talked about different stuff before with GoPro cameras and GPS timing devices. I highly suggest you get them. Some of the GoPro cameras have mile per hour on them. You can watch your speed on the racetrack. Okay, and then you can see, like I watched somebody's the other day and they were going 70 miles an hour down the straightaway and 39 miles an hour through the corner. Was their minimum speed. And that minimum speed was on exit. So that means that car was going to have to accelerate. That thing should have been going 10, 15 miles an hour faster over there. So that's not the lap we're looking for. We're looking for that speed. So entry, apex, super important. So that two things you need to work on. Having the car stepped out, static steer, mechanical steer, which is created from your bars. Static steer is just rear steer in the car that's going to allow the car to step out. 3/8 of rear steer on a 40-inch, I believe it's a 40-inch, 42-inch center location, on a 60-inch center rear end, on a 42-inch mount, on 3/8 of steer at the rod, will give you a 5/8 of steer. It'll put you 1 inch. If you're right side of the line, it'll put you 1 inch outside the right side tire, right front tire, 1 inch outside the right front tire. So the car is going to go down the straightaway. I stand in the gate of turn 2 and I watch cars go down the straightaway. And I watch a lot of my team members go down the straightaway very straight because they think it's faster. Okay, what little bit of drive you might give up, because of the car is crab walking or whatever you want to call it, I truly believe is completely unnoticeable. But when you get to the corner, you can turn in and you don't have to place your right rear. So if you're going straighter, you're going to turn in and that right rear is going to have to come in and follow. But when you're crabbed up, you turn in and that right rear goes right to the right front. So it gets there very quickly and it gets there with load. And it doesn't have to come across the racetrack to get there. It just comes down the hill in the turn-in process. Okay? Everybody in racing, whether it's asphalt, dirt cars, has proven that this setup is fast. It's not desirable because it's very loose feeling. And because we've been, I'll call it brainwashed so much to think tight's better, then we think this is bad. And we call free loose, and loose is bad. Loose means you're going to spend out. Free means I have the opportunity to be fast if I don't mess it up. And what I mean by mess up means come in and have them tighten it up. Okay, tight race cars are a comfort blanket, a security blanket that says, you know what? No matter how much I get loose, I can fix it because I'm tight. Okay, but I'm not going to be fast. You're not going to beat guys that are fast on the right rear. Had a guy tell me this weekend, he's very fast, race car driver, very good race car driver, and he said, if I get more than 2 turns to the rear of brake bias, he says, I'm telling my crew to free it up. And I think that's a great, and I know, I'm going to say 98% of us are all behind that. We're all more than 2 turns. And I tell you guys a lot that I want you to try to get to 2 turns. Okay, but the car is tight when you have to turn it with the brakes. You know, and I've had guys tell me, oh, I'm not tight, but I'm on 3-wheel brake. Well, you're tight. You're very tight. So let's work on our cars, guys. Let's free our cars up. Let's try to improve our entries. That's what this series has been about, making the car better, making the car freer so we can carry more speed into the corner and carry more speed through the corner. Because I truly believe the guy that's winning the most races is the guy that's the fastest on the racetrack. And that makes him the fastest through the corners. This video might be a little shorter than the others due to, you know, I feel like we've covered a lot of this. Due to, it's 100 degrees out. And this little studio is not air conditioned. So it's getting hot. So if I look hot, it's because I am hot. But I wanted to spend a little time with you guys. If you know me, if you've talked to me, if you've met me, you know that I care about you guys. I want to see you all run good. And I thought about that a lot this weekend at the track. I thought, you know, there's people that I don't converse with weekly because I don't know them. And I decided that that's time to stop that and just start communicating with these people. Okay, they are our competitors too, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't help them. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't be nice to them. Okay. Life is bigger than life is bigger than racing, way bigger than racing. And we have lost a few people in the racing world this last week. And that's never a good deal. Every time we get into these cars, it gets tougher and tougher. Okay? There's dangers that we are going to occur by getting in a race car. And we can't get away from that. So I highly encourage you to have your lives right. And when I mean right with God. Because when you're right with God, you can race better. Okay, now that's no reason to go say, okay, I'm going to get right with God. Get right with God because you need to get your lives right. But know when you get in the car, no matter what happens, that you're taken care of, your eternity is taken care of, and your kids and family are taken care of. Okay, that security is where the speed is in being right. Okay, but being right and having your lives right with Jesus Christ is the most important thing. That's what we're doing here. That's what this whole world's about. That's why we exist. We don't exist to race. We race to have fun. Okay, we race to create a brotherhood, a relationship between others, a competition between others. Competition is always meant in my world that I must hate my competitors. Well, that's not true. That's not true. But that's what I was taught, that they're my competitors, which makes them my enemy. And that's not necessarily true. We can be competitors, and I see that in the racing world where guys are competitors, but yet they're still friends. And that is awesome. But if you die and you don't go to heaven, if you die and you go to a hell, that ain't good. That means we ain't done our jobs. I know this isn't what you signed up for. You didn't sign up for a Bible class. You signed up for a speed class. But I'm telling you, speed is in knowing that I'm right with God. And if you don't understand it or you don't know how to do it, call me. Call me at the shop. I'll walk you through it. Because at the end of the day, if something bad happens to my friends, I want my friends to know that there's an eternity afterlife. And that eternity is with Jesus Christ. So I want you to know that because I care about you. Okay, so I always end these this way because I care about you. So if you have any questions about that or any other questions, call the shop 620-326-3152. Either myself or Yvette can help you. If you have technical questions, of course, I'll help you. But if you have life questions or salvation questions, please feel free to call us. And remember, go left, go fast, and God bless you. And we'll see you the next time.